So the next two kits for June are the Little Myrtle Trio kit and the Little Myrtle kit. So these are both sort of Mediterranean plants, do really well indoors as well as outdoors. They just don't like the cold, so if you were going to keep them outdoors, it's best to bring them indoors in sort of September before the first frosts. But yeah, a really lovely sort of a tablescaping trio, which I think looks really effective along a sort of the central part of a table for hosting sort of outside. And then the little trio, the Little Myrtle kit just works beautifully popped, you know, on a shelf or in a living room or on an ottoman or something like that. So both beautiful kits to style in your home and in your garden. So let's start with the trio. So in this kit you'll get 3 sort of scalloped terracotta pots. Now these are a really lovely tall shape, so they're sort of elongated, they're taller but still narrow, so they're just a bit more unusual, they're just a bit sort of different. I use these a lot at home. I also have my makeup brushes in them in the bathroom. So yeah, they're just a really lovely sort of styling piece, I think, for the home and garden. So in your kit, as always, you'll have gravel, compost, moss, and your 3 topiaries and your 3 pots and their sources. So you just start with adding in your gravel to the base of your pots, and then adding in a small handful, I say small, probably a couple actually looking at, yeah, a couple of handfuls of compost into each pot, and then sort of use your kind of fist just to sort of push it down slightly. Okay, and now you simply take your plants out of their pots, and place in your plant pots. Now, when you receive your little myrtles, you might find that there are leaves on the sort of the stem of the tree. So with that, you can just remove them, because that then sort of emphasizes the sort of topiary tree element of the kit. So it's completely up to you. Depends on how you like it. But yeah, if you want to just take the leaves off that are just around the sort of trunk of the little tree, then that is fine. It will make it look more sort of dome in shape. And then you just add in your compost around the edges. Now I am going to make a big mess, but that's part of the fun. Okay, so that's the first one done. And then gently compressing the compost down the sides of the plant. Okay, nearly there. Now these are definitely, or this is definitely a kit that you, in theory, could have for many years. They do really last a long time. I still have mine from last summer. I bought them in during the winter and put them in the greenhouse, but they would have been fine just indoors. And yeah, they've just stayed in their pots and they're still green. They look probably exactly the same. I haven't clipped them or anything. I've not pruned them. I've just left them to kind of grow how they want to, and they still look absolutely adorable. And I will use them this summer for, you know, when I have people over, barbecues and things, and I will style my outside table with them in a nice sort of line down the centre of the table. So then adding in your moss, so I'm just going in here with some flat moss. You'll have all three in your kit, so it's completely up to you which you use, but I'll do flat moss, and then I will probably add in some sphagnum moss in the gaps. And that's it for your little trio of Myrtle. We'll now move over to the little Myrtle kit, and then I will go through some tips on how to look after them, and hopefully you'll have myrtles that will last for years and years. Okay, so this I have brought out to show you is the pot that the kit comes with, but this is mine personally, and I have probably had it for about 10 months, maybe longer, and I've used it repeatedly with different various things. I've used it for tutorials, I've used it for photographing, and hopefully what it shows you is how gorgeous these pots age and how they just get better and better. Don't get me wrong, you know, the sort of the blush rosé terracotta when it first arrives is lovely, and it does stay like that for a while. You'll see sort of the two-tone is more sort of watermarked, but as it gets older, especially if you're keeping them outside, excuse me, this is how they sort of end up looking, and it's just gorgeous. It's so sort of rustic and authentic and aged, and yeah, I hope you really love it as much as I love them, how they go like this. So let's pot up the little myrtle tree. So adding in your gravel to the bottom of your pot, and then maybe a decent handful of compost on top of the gravel. Yeah. No, I'm going to go a tiny bit more. And then take your tree and pop that straight in. They are my favourites, I love them. Okay, and adding in the rest of your compost, excuse me, to the edges and down the sides. You won't need loads, but just, it's good for the plant to get sort of a refresh of the nutrients that the new compost give. So pushing that down, and then you can add in your moss. So when looking after your myrtles, whether that's the topiary or the little myrtle tree, or in fact the topiary planter that I'm about to do for the next one, or the tall tree, the myrtle tree, they're really quite simple to look after. They do not like cold temperatures. So I would say over the summer, you know, if they're looking a little bit sad, give them a water, keep them damp, but not, they don't need sort of loads and loads of watering. They're relatively easy to look after. But the main thing is that they don't like frost. They don't like cold temperatures. So if you know it's going to be really cold come September, bring them in, enjoy them in the home for all of autumn and winter and spring, and then once the frosts have gone, you can put them back outside again, or just keep them indoors all year round and enjoy them in your homes. You can prune them and clip them back in the spring if you'd like to. But again, they're more of a kind of rustic topiary. I don't think there's necessarily any need to do that, but it's obviously up to you. Trying to think if there's anything else. Sunlight they like. And yeah, just keep them down, not overwatered. Don't let them dry out. I suppose it was similar to the olive, you know, if once the top sort of inch of soil has gone dry, re-water them. Don't let them sit in the excess water in a saucer, so make sure you tip that out. Keep an eye on that in the garden, obviously, if it's raining. And that's about it. They're really easy. So those are the Trio and the Little Myrtle kits, and I hope you love them.